Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We're going to talk about Coinbase going public in the near term. Get ready for it. XRP headed for a new all-time high, and we're going to cover some Brad Garlinghouse comments from the Julia Chatterley interview, which was straight fire, and we're going to hear from Augustin Carstens in the BIS. I think there is a there. Let's just roll that beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. Looking at the price right now, $59,841.77 for Bitcoin. And Brad Garlinghouse says he thinks it'll be around long term, and I do too. But that don't mean it won't get its wings clipped for being proof of work. Watch out for a carbon footprint tax or something that rhymes with it. All right, here we go. Number 7 spot for XRP, 59 cents. 0.5919 this morning, up 11.14% on the 7-day. Looking at the range, we are still ranging between 55 and 58 cents. Keep an eye on that as well. There are a lot of players out here, as well as Cryptomaniac, calling for a possible new all-time high for XRP in the very, very near term, coming into May and the summer, I believe. So make sure you keep an eye on that. And we also see another technical analyst out here, Lud and LXRP, and keep an eye on them. They're seeing the same thing, as well as many others that we've covered on this channel. Crypto Wizard, shout out to them. And they've got a paid program if you're interested in that. And then a couple others, Crypto Bull 2020, Crypto Toes. There's so many people out here that are aligning in a technical analysis space. Thank you to all the analysts on that. So keep your head on a swivel, regardless of what you hear going on. Listen to this, because this is a catalyst itself to the crypto asset space. None of this is financial advice, but the SEC has approved Coinbase's direct listing proposal for April 14th. Foregoing a traditional IPO could be very lucrative for the current Coinbase shareholders. No kidding. Yeah, the company will trade under the ticker symbol $coin. How about that? What a long time coming this has been. April 14th, I believe, will be a historic day for the entire crypto space, because it is going to set a new watermark for awareness that this digital asset space is forevermore going to be here in this world as long as there is mankind. That's where we're at, and that's where we're going, at the introduction of a new digital asset class, and the awareness is going to come through the face and the brand awareness of Coinbase with their public listing. For all the people who don't know what we are, and all of us here, and what digital assets are, they're about to find out. Now let's jump into this, because there's a couple comments here I want to get into the Julia Chatterley interview that I played in my morning video. If you haven't seen it, it's got part 1 and 2 in it. Please go watch that video. Right now we're going to focus on a couple points in here that I really need to bring out. And then we're going to look at some other information. Some you've seen before, some you haven't. Please stay with me as we move through this. I believe it is very powerful what we could actually take from this. So, or at least take from it in speculation and look to see if any of it plays out, because I think there may be a there. Okay, so Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said that abandoning XRP and replacing it with an alternative could certainly be a part of the solution in the United States when asked about contingency plans. Well, I don't need to read any more of that. That's what the article said. But let's listen to the exchange that they are referencing in this interview and get into this, and then move forward with some information. Here we go.
Based payment network Ripple is fighting a lawsuit with the United States regulators over whether the digital token XRP used to facilitate payments is a security rather than an asset. A security, of course, faces greater regulation. It's parted ways with remittance giant MoneyGram, but left the door open to a future relationship, and it's signing deals in Asia with a stake in a cross-border payment hub. Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO of Ripple and joins us now. Wow, Brad, you've been busy. Let's talk about the lawsuit first. You've been very vocal about fighting this, why you see it as an attack on the industry rather than just on Ripple. But let's talk contingency plans. What happens if this lawsuit is lost by Ripple and yourselves. What will it mean for the network?
Well, good morning, Julia, and happy April Fool's Day. But as you've already pointed out in your show this morning, topics like these are definitely not a joke. We take this suit very seriously. The good news has been that people like Mary Jo White, the former chair of the SEC, has come out and said that she views this as dead wrong. I think the SEC is wrong on the facts, they're wrong on the law. I think we will prevail. But as you say, there is a chance, of course, that the court system does not go that direction. The good news for Ripple is we've continued to sign customers. We've signed over 20 new financial institutions around the world as customers since the SEC filed their lawsuit. And I think we'll continue to see the network grow very rapidly in non-U.S. customers. The challenge is this drives blockchain innovation and crypto activity outside the U.S., which I don't think is in the interest of the United States in any way.
And let me cut it right there, because that is such a great point by Brad. It does drive innovation outside of the U.S. And you know what else it does? It shoots the United States government right into the foot, right in the foot, because you're shooting the golden goose. Because this isn't just, mutually exclusive to the United States. The rest of the world has decided what XRP already is, except for the United States. And Brad has made that point very clear. When you understand that fact and that XRP is already being used for its intended use around the world in other applications in other countries, then you clearly understand whatever the U.S. decides to do, if they do decide to rule out of favor of XRP and what its intended use is, then you have to understand it only harms the U.S. The rest of the world will gain the benefits of what we all know is an asset, XRP, that does exactly what it says it can do, which is hard to find in this space, by the way. So the reality here is that you have to believe, if they are going to not rule in a manner that allows XRP to move forward in its full-scale intended use, and I don't care whether they call it a security, a currency, or a bicycle. It doesn't matter. As long as they allow it to operate at its full-scale intended use, that to me is what's most important, and followed by the fact, as a retail investor, I want to be able to continue to hold it, buy it, sell it, and trade it if I feel I want to. But that's another conversation. But the real deal here for me is that, look, whatever the U.S. does, I don't believe they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. And the reason I don't believe that is because the rest of the world wins and the U.S. loses. Because the U.S. doesn't get to tell China or Singapore or the U.K. or anybody else what they're going to do, because they've already made a decision about how they see XRP, and they see it in a manner that allows them to use it. However, what's interesting to me is the rest of the world is still waiting for the U.S. to settle on this matter, because they haven't started using it yet. Going to get into that in a second. Let's go ahead now and move to the tail end of this. And again, if you haven't seen the whole interview, please go to my other video this morning. You will see Brad and Julie on the thumbnail. Go watch it. Okay. Let's listen to this right here. Very important comment said right here.
Even as you're doing things in other countries, do you think in this period there's a risk that the progress that's being made in places like decentralized finance or a global stablecoin perhaps as a window of opportunity to overtake what you're trying to do with your payment network? Is that a risk, to your point about suppressing certain parts of the market and innovation?
Yeah, I mean, look, you are absolutely right that the lack of clarity and lack of certainty affects the whole industry. And I think that's what Ripple is experiencing, and the SEC filed another lawsuit earlier this week. And so I think here in the United States, the industry has the risk of falling behind. But I don't think, at the end of the day, what Ripple's solving is a cross-border payments problem. And we are working with some of, and certainly speaking to many central banks around the world about some of the stable coin initiatives for central bank issued digital currencies. And we actually think that's actually helpful to what Ripple is doing in solving a cross-border payments problem. Ultimately, we saw the Obama administration be clear that XRP is viewed as a currency, and we think we'll actually end up there, hopefully, as a new administration comes into the SEC.
Okay, so first of all, a couple things in that short exchange there is that, Julia Chatterley, shout out to her for even mentioning a global stablecoin. I can't help but feel like she must have got permission to do that because you don't hear people in mainstream media talking about a global stablecoin. But listen to this quick front end exchange. I'm going to pause it here in a sec. Just listen to this.
Do you think in this period there's a risk that the progress that's being made in places like decentralized finance or a global stablecoin perhaps as a window of opportunity to overtake what you're trying to do with your payment network? Is that a risk, to your point about suppressing certain parts of the market and innovation?
Yeah, I mean, look, you are absolutely right that the lack of clarity and lack of certainty affects the whole industry. And I think that's what Ripple is experiencing, and the SEC filed another lawsuit earlier this week. And so I think here in the United States, the industry has the risk of falling behind. But I don't think, at the end of the day, what Ripple's solving is a cross-border payments problem. And we are working with some of it, and certainly speaking to many central banks around the world about some of the stable coin initiatives for central bank issued digital currencies. And we actually think that's actually helpful to what Ripple is doing in solving a cross-border payments problem. Ultimately, we saw the Obama administration be clear that XRP is viewed as a currency, and we think we'll actually end up there, hopefully as a new administration comes into the SEC.
So I'm showing you the Financial Stability Board, global stablecoin arrangements. The XRP has been cited by Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of England, right? How they could be backing that network, that company, specifically mentioned Ripple and XRP, which means a basket of stablecoin backed by a basket of deposits by different central banks really would be expressed on the XRP ledger because he says Ripple and XRP. So that basket of deposits would be from central banks on the XRP ledger. Hello, price set. If they put $1 trillion on the XRP ledger in fiat reserves to back the digital dollars they all have, that gives you a price floor. Hello, price set. Come on in. I'm only sharing with you what Mark Carney, the governor, the former governor of the Bank of England, has said. Not a YouTuber, not a podcaster. The former governor of the Bank of England, and now we're hearing him field questions about global stablecoins from Julia Chatterley on mainstream media, but it's delivered in a way that sounds like it's a threat to Ripple and XRP itself. But the reality is Mark Carney sees it as the solution. It is the global stablecoin, according to Mark Carney. And it is to me too, because I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. And that's not financial advice. It's just what I'm doing. Now listen to this, because this is Augustin Carstens, the head of the BIS, which is the central bank of central banks. And guess what? He's getting ready to tell you how they have to have private innovation because it can make the system even better. Listen.
We have a very broad history of many different private efforts to come with private money to compete with central bank money, and at the end, what I described in my presentation is what happens. At some point, you need to have a finality, you need to have liquidity, intraday liquidity, and at some point, you need to have a lender of last resort. You don't have that in many privately created currencies. And that at some point can be a problem. Now, if you apply that at the national level, at some point you will fall into that problem. And therefore, the issue is, why should we invent again something that works? Now, let's build on that and let's open up the system so that private innovation can make it even better.
So that private innovation can make it even better. And you know what? He's talking about, what did he say? What did he say? Finality, liquidity, intraday liquidity, he said. Listen to what he said again right here.
We have a very broad history of many different private efforts to come with private money to compete with central bank money. And at the end, what I described in my presentation is what happens. At some point, you need to have a finality. You need to have liquidity, intraday liquidity.
Intraday liquidity, my man Augustin Karsten says. And what does this say right here? Crypto assets designed for inter and intrabank payments and settlement, which really leans into the intraday liquidity for intrabank payments and settlement using JPM coin and XRP from the World Economic Forum 2020 January. Everything is falling in line. What I see is us progressively seeing this conversation and this narrative move to a place where they are going to take action. Who are they? They are the central banks, the governments of the world. At some point, I believe are going to take action because the idea and notion of this article saying that they would abandon XRP would only be detrimental to the United States because the rest of the world is going to use it, and they already are. What I think of now is the case of the SEC and about how it's been made very clear by Jeremy Hogan and many others in the space. It's not about whether XRP is a security. It's about whether the sales of the XRP has been a security. And why is that? Because they cite here in the complaint, line 82, that Ripple had undertook to achieve its goal of widespread distribution of XRP by exchanging XRP for non-cash consideration, pre-allocation, pre-contractual agreements such as labor and market-making services. If you see XRP and understand it to be a currency, this is really no more than seigniorage. There's nothing illegal about that. Now, if you see it as an investment contract, like the way Ripple was seen with R3 2 years ago, maybe 3 now, R3 and Ripple were involved in major litigation because they used to be partnered together, which at the time of the litigation was worth about $18 billion at XRP's peak price. R3 was to promote Ripple to a consortium of banks, but got sidetracked with its own fundraising. At the same time, there was a separate contract wherein R3 received, listen, options to buy 5 billion XRP at 85 cents. Ripple canceled the options contract because R3 obviously was not living up to their end because they got sidetracked with their own fundraising. But they canceled the options contract, which was at the heart of the dispute, but the case was settled without disclosing details. So we know that the widespread adoption and distribution that they had achieved was because of options contracts like they had with R3 or even Greg Kidd in the option contract he has, which is for 1 billion XRP, right? So at the end of the day, I start saying to myself, wow, what's the best way to show this world and the U.S. courts and the SEC and everyone that there has been widespread adoption and what the real use case really is, right? What's the real use case here? Well, if I was going to do that, I might say we need to act and get SBI to fire up the use of XRP in the foreign exchange market where it was tested last November 2020 in a $6.6 trillion FX market. And I would say to myself, well, Yoshitaka's been on the board here. It might be best if Yoshitaka leaves the Ripple board so he's not connected to the U.S. courts and the litigation with the SEC and Ripple, and I'd have him fire it up while I replace him on the board with somebody great like Adam Trademan, who is great, CEO of Ripple Asia, and many, many other projects and businesses. I can't say that this is what's going to happen, but I do know one thing. We saw for a fact that Augustin Karsten said that we need to have the private innovation can make it better. That's what he said. Let's open up the system. You hear it yourself.
The issue is why should we invent again something that works? Now let's build on that and let's open up the system so that private innovation can make it even better.
And that's a guy who doesn't need to know what the U.S. courts think at all, because it doesn't matter to him. That's going to do it for me. I don't know where this goes, but I'll tell you one thing. I think I do. And I'm not leaving until I see 4 or 5 digit XRP. And I'm not leaving until I see the central banks fire this thing up, or SBI out of Asia and Japan fire up the use and really going live instead of just testing XRP in a foreign exchange market, because we know it works really great like a currency. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, crypto tax audit. All one word, crypto tax audit. It is tax time, and Clinton Donnelly is the man to see about it. He has an incredible package, and it is extremely affordable, and I can assure you it costs much less than an audit. So make sure you check that out. It is in the description box and the comment section, and they are all trusted, vetted links. I'll catch you on the next one.